Climbing the Pocket Network presents Jason and the Boys talking everything Minnesota Vikings. Watch the countdown timer.
Away we go again. Lost like I'm lost on purpose. If found, please return to. Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home, girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home, my vision blurry, I'm paying the cost. I'm not enough. In fact, it's even better when you're not involved. When I miss your call, I feel that I evolve. Cause at your mention, I am more dependent than a college student on their parents or an old person on their pension. Not to mention, when you hit me on WhatsApp without attention, and a bad booty bitch walks in, she looks tempting. Look, my Achilles heel is when I say what I feel, you say, baby, come home, and I don't think that I will, cause all this motherfucking stress is gonna get me killed. Woo. Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home, girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home,
Huddle around as Climbing the Pocket Network presents Jason and the Boys talking everything Minnesota Vikings.
No, I can't play these games. No, you can't disrespect and call me names. Sending me signals like you about to switch lanes. Well, go on, do your thing. Go on, do your thing. I mix champagne and propane, get lit. I'm trying to forget all the things that you said, all the things that we did. Girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home, girl, don't you know I'm lost on the road? I've been here before. When I get home, watch the breakdown. And I get home when I get home. You just gonna act like we normal now. Good luck. Don't you try to call me with that bullshit, telling me you're sorry. You act too quick. That's somebody else's problem now. You're somebody else's problem now. Don't you try to call me with that bullshit, telling me you're sorry. You act too quick. That's somebody else's problem now. You're somebody else's problem now.
Boom. We are back once again. It is In the Huddle. I'm your host, Jason Brown. You can find me on Twitter at BrownJason. And we got to start things off. If you're viewing, you know why we're going here. First, we got to start off with Super Dad, wide receiver 1, the last man to put the clamps on Adam Thielen. Miles,
What up?
how's it going? How you doing? Doing double
Well,
duty tonight. Got a special guest. What's happening, my man?
Yeah, man, wife's got some stuff she gotta take care of, kids in bed, son's in bed, and then, so somebody's gotta watch the little girl. So, dad mode right here.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, let's just keep this thing rolling along. Mr. Peloton, Mr. Ortega, Mr. Sooner, how you doing? How you been?
I am great, man. Thanks for having me on tonight. Excited to talk a little football here, man. It's always a pleasure to be on with you guys. So
love it, love it, love it. And I don't know, we still got you listed as Dave. Your name starts with a D, so I guess we can get away with it. Deshaun, my man, Mr. The O-line is just one player away, always. The O-line will determine our fate in every season. How you doing, my man? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good. I can be Dave tonight. I can.
Let those takes fly, my man. Well, we had a bunch of stuff on here that we were supposed to talk about, and then, Doogie went and just messed up the whole plan. Actually, no, he gave us content. Thank you very much, Doogie. We got to talk about it. Everson Griffin reunion. Deshaun, what are your thoughts?
Hey, I mean, you got to do whatever you got to do to get this O line jumping, and look, we
O-line.
can.
O-line.
I mean, the D line jumping. I mean, we can forget
Deshaun
Kirk's
got
feelings.
O-line on the mind, man. Never go away.
Listen, I came here ready to defend my takes. Y'all have me. So I like it. I think if he comes back in that pass rushing capacity, he was already outperforming our two guys from last season, and you get the twin kicks coming back. I know Dale Hunter would be pumped. I think it's a feel good move for just about everyone. I mean, I don't think anybody cares about Kirk Cousins' feelings, but for most people, I think the team will love it. You just get that guy back in the locker room, teaching the young guys.
And I guess, Ryan, how do you look at this? Are you looking at this as like a positive and like Everson coming back? Or are we looking at this as an indictment of the guys that we already saw as potentially weak links? And then, when the game happened, and we're not going to overreact. It's preseason, 1s versus 2s, all that good stuff. But like, do you think that they saw that and were like, whoa? Because, they've had opportunities to sign Everson for a while now. How much do you think that preseason game factored into this potential reunion?
Yeah, I think it's a data point. They didn't perform overly well against their ones, and these guys are supposed to be ones. When I say they, Wanham and Weatherly, and I don't think that it's the sole factor of why they're bringing in Everson. Everson has a lot of equity here with the Vikings, and has been a great leader for this team over the years. Obviously, he departed last year, and he wanted to come back. So the whole Kirk Cousins comment that Deshaun said, that that should be funny because in terms of how they patched that up, because these will be two leaders on the team, right? And
Zim don't give up. Zim don't care about Kirk's feelings.
And he really shouldn't, right? Yeah, he really shouldn't either. I think that actually pushes you to be better and to prove Everson wrong, right? And hopefully Kirk takes it like that. I don't think Kirk cares. I don't think he cares jack about what anyone thinks of him, besides maybe his dad. So, and the man upstairs. But yeah, I think that it's not so much an indictment, I think, as more you always want to be able to provide more depth. And maybe it's just an indictment more so on the guys that are even further down the depth chart and where they're at currently right now in their developmental stage.
That's a great point. So, Miles, where do we even see Everson Griffin slotting in on this roster? Because, obviously, twin kicks, we're thinking about all this stuff. Like, at what level do we expect Everson Griffin to even play? Is he coming in as a starter? Or, like Ryan pointed out, might he be just a depth piece to help us out a little bit?
Well, with all the guys they brought in this offseason from like a draft Stephen Weatherly standpoint, they got Wanham coming back. Where they're at the end, there kind of is a logjam. So not to say that they can't move on from a Weatherly or even try to sneak one of the rookies through practice squad or what have you, but it's clear that they're not seeing enough from anybody to warrant the depth that they're looking for at that rotation. It's interesting because obviously it's a workout, so there's no guarantee Everson's getting signed. But if he's in good shape, all things point to him getting signed tomorrow, assuming things go well. Did I see that? Was it Patrick Jones might be banged up or hurt? Like there could be one of those situations where maybe one of the young guys is hurt and banged up, so it's just another excuse to get a guy in. In my opinion, though, if none of the rookies are hurt, maybe it means you move on from Weatherly. You kick Weatherly out the door because, like, he's supposed to be your Everson Griffin, essentially, in this case. Like, they could have had Everson Griffin back in the spring for the same price as Weatherly, and he'd have been here all offseason. He'd have been here, handling his business. He'd already be up to speed. But they chose Weatherly because they felt Weatherly could be a guy for them. But I think we all knew that wasn't a certainty. There's nothing, we've seen Weatherly play. There's nothing special there. So, in my opinion, if you do it, you might want to consider getting rid of Weatherly for that reason. I mean, they probably won't because they like the stability. They like knowing who he is, what he does, and and this coaching staff specifically very much is our guys type of have that like our guys mentality. So it will be interesting to see how he slots in if they do sign him, because that just pushes the rookies, Patrick Jones, Janarius Robinson, pushes those guys down the pecking order even more. But it also just tells you that maybe they're not as confident in Wanham's development, which that one's a little bit more disappointing to me than anybody else. Is like Wanham's the guy from last year. You're hoping to see that take a next step, so you wouldn't even need an Everson Griffin, but they're obviously not seeing that.
Oh,
And then
Flip
there's
coming
Flip.
strong.
They
Yeah,
better,
they better sign him. I'm not even here to
I
talk
think
about Flip. I'm
it's
here to say, what's up, Mary? How you doing? Thanks for coming through.
Wait,
We
can I
know that the calendar was
can I
packed for you, so just wanted to say shout out to Mary, Raymond, everybody else
facts.
out there in the comments saying what's up to us. My bad, Miles. You go
Wait,
ahead.
can I? No, yeah, I just want to say one more thing, Deshaun. Then Deshaun, you go ahead. I think the Vikings should have been aiming higher than a Weatherly or even an Everson Griffin at this stage if they really were worried about their defensive end situation. They didn't, and it's probably going to come back to bite them in the ass now because they don't have those guys in place. So they should have been aiming higher earlier in the offseason than waiting till now.
I think it's worth mentioning that they like having that rotation. They like having 4 to 5 guys who can come in on any down and rush the passer. And without Everson Griffin, I think they have maybe 3 at most, with it being Hunter, Richardson, and then maybe Tomlinson. And then you have like the what ifs in Wanham, and then you have Weatherly. So if you keep Weatherly, you have somebody who you know can be pretty okay in run defense, and then you get that rotation of 4 to 5 guys who can rush the passer on any down. So I feel
That's a
like
good
they
point.
don't have to let anybody go for Everson to fit, but I would probably just taper expectations to like maybe only playing like half the snaps, maybe even less than that, and just being that pure pass rush guy.
I mean,
I
Seth
mean,
said it.
and,
Like
and we've
Everson in a
seen,
third down role.
Everson not
yeah,
wearing number 97 would look weird, by the way. Coming back and
oh
wearing
yeah,
like 56 or some shit. No, whatever
for
number. I
sure.
don't know.
For sure.
What
No,
were you
and
gonna say, Ryan?
another thing too is that, when he was here, we did actually push him over into the 3 tech on pass rush situations. So that would give
Was
us
that
Sheldon
2019
Richardson.
playoffs?
Yeah, that NASCAR package alive and well.
Yeah, so you have potentially him at 3 tech, Sheldon Richardson at the nose, so to speak, in an obvious pass situation, and then Hunter and whatever of those rest of those guys can be the best pass rusher over at the other end, and that could be a maybe a lethal third down or obvious pass situation rotation there. So I mean there's a lot of flexibility that he provides because he is kind of a bigger D end. He always has been, and you can definitely utilize him in a lot of different ways. And again, the other thing too is that leadership that he brings, because a lot of people on that team do respect him, regardless of what's been said and what's happened in the past. So,
Love it. All right, so we go from potentially a good news story, Flip saying they better do the right thing, but there was a game. And so, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit here. Deshaun, you were one of the say maybe the beacons of hope through the negativity after that game, because I mean the game there wasn't much to really be happy about or cheer about if you were a Vikings fan. But Deshaun, you were out there telling us like it's not that bad. We need to calm down. We need to stop the doom and gloom. Why is it that you were able to come away from that game feeling optimistic?
So I think once you rewatch the game and you focus more on individual battles, you start to see some guys actually do pretty okay. So like yesterday we said
Pretty okay is not a very that's not a rousing endorsement. You've said it a couple times now. Like pretty, I mean they're pretty okay. I mean,
because
that might
these
be the
aren't guys
tagline
that
for the Vikings in the Kirk Cousins era.
these aren't guys that you maybe want to throw out as ones against like master defenses, but these are depth. Like I got Mason Cole and Blake Brandel who all played a massive amount of snaps and didn't give up a single pressure. So we've been talking all offseason about how the Vikings are top heavy, and then you have these certain guys who went out there and did their job and now provide us with the depth that we said we didn't have. Now on the defensive side of the ball, that wasn't really there much. I feel like almost everybody on the defense got their butt handed to them. But guys like Patrick Jones, who kind of made the most of their situation, he led the team in TFLs with 3. And then you have Armon Watts was okay.
Did you see the play where was it Bowles drove Armon Watts like to the parking lot? Brandon Thorne, I think he had a clip about it. It was bad, but that's just one play, but still.
Yeah, so it was stuff like that. It's like these guys they'll come out, they'll do okay for a couple snaps, and they'll just have this one snap that looks really ugly. And then I think Blake Lynch did the same thing, or James Lynch did the same thing, where he was
Same
doing
person.
okay, and then he just and and then he just had these ugly snaps back to back, and the Broncos ended up, I think, scoring a TD on that drive. So there, as far as depth reasons go, it wasn't super doom and gloom. Also with the wide receivers, I know a lot of people were really disappointed in the wide receivers, especially ISM, because they had big expectations for him. But the game plan was very, very watered down. He did do some things wrong. Like I didn't like how he was running his routes like before the first down line on 3rd and 4th down, those kind of awareness kind of things. But the game plan didn't really play to his strengths. So next week, when we see the playbook open up, because we'll see Kirk and those guys out there, I think next week is when we'll see him do more of the things he's more acclimated to. Because from a report in practice today, he scored like 3 touchdowns, him and KJ Osborne. So these guys are doing the things in practice, and we just have to give them the opportunity to do well. And I think we'll get that next week.
And I'm sorry, sir. This is Mary's world. Mary gets the big booming introductions. Maybe Jake if he pops in. But we're working on it. Soon. Keep showing up, and we'll work on it. We got to figure out what your nickname's going to be and all that stuff. But you will also get an introduction. We just got to figure out, what we're
Freddie.
going to call you in this.
Yeah. Facts.
Freddie's talking about
the
that wide receiver 3?
I mean, it's going to be a KJ Osborne likely to start the season. It's all about when D.D. Westbrook comes back, though. That's probably going to be the situation to keep an eye on. I mean, if D.D. Westbrook can get up to speed by the 3rd preseason game, you should see him play some snaps week 1. He'll especially be the punt returner. But right now, it's been KJ Osborne. He's been showing out in camp. So for now, I think it'll be him.
Yeah, Miles, keep going on the wide receiver front, because I know Deshaun alluded to it. Said people, but we know those people were Miles, who were real disappointed in what was going on with ISM. So talk to me about what it was that you were seeing. Deshaun called out some of the things around awareness pieces, but I know that there were some technical elements to his route running that you also weren't very, very pleased to see with ISM, based on the hype we were hearing versus what we actually saw when it was game time.
Yeah, so Deshaun, that was perfect explanation about it. The 3rd and 4th downs, there are certain routes, like a speed out, for example, where I think it was the 4th down play where he cut it he cut it at like 2 yards on I think it was like 4th and 6. I don't know the exact distance, but it wasn't that far, and he cut it at 2 yards. In those situations, coaches give you a little bit more freedom to take the route a little deeper to make sure you get that first down, because that's what you need. Catching the ball at 2 yards doesn't do you anything. So those are types of those situational plays that ISM needs to be better with. And his route running just looked weak, like all game. Like my daughter right here is she's like, "Yup, that's terrible." She just farted. So she didn't even tell you that. That's how she feels. And that's what, watching him play on Saturday, that's kind of what it felt like. It wasn't to Deshaun's point, the playbook was really vanilla, but I want to see more effort from him too. The issue with what these guys are doing is you're not reliant on the quarterbacks right now. You're reliant on what you do on a one-on-one basis against a DB. And so Amir Smith-Marset, win your routes. It doesn't matter if you're getting the ball or not, win your routes. And so I didn't see that. I didn't see it consistently where he would win a route, even if he wasn't getting a target. And then when he did get a few targets, some of the contact was really struggling. He was really struggling with some of the contact. And so you just want to see, I believe that as a rookie, if they want to get him in the mix, it needs to be more as a gadget player. But if he wants to evolve himself to be more of a complete receiver, he's going to have to start understanding and how to learn to beat press coverage, to run more crisp routes, to stem at a better stem at the top of his route, and those types of nuances. that the receiver position, needs. But in the preseason, they're not going to give him those snaps. They're not going to make him a gadget player in the preseason. They're going to ask him to go out and play receiver. So he's got to step up and do that, and that's his chance to do it. And you just didn't see it, and you didn't really see it from anybody else either. Like, I think KJ Osborne did fine. I mean, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for him, but when he did fine. Watt Fillier, like, you got to catch that touchdown. I know it's a tough situation, but like, you got to catch that. Like, you're a guy trying to make the team. I thought it was a touchdown, by the way. I'm just the angles I saw. I thought it was a touchdown. Anyways,
I mean, to be fair, it saved us from PA talking about WAP on the broadcast beyond just a little bit that we got there, because like nobody needs any of that. We don't need PA quoting Cardi and Megan Thee Stallion. So I think that we all dodged a bullet with that drop TD, even though you like to see the man make a play. Ryan,
so that was it.
Yes, right. So talk to me. What happened? Like a couple weeks ago, I was told that Jake Browning was the man. Locked in, QB2, he was vaxxed up, ready to go handle business, and he got out there and looked terrible. Like, What's up? What happened?
Well, I'm going to quick back up real quick to the ISM. His route running looked like Drake in Drake's music video. Like, it was bad. So he needs to clean that up, but he does better in practice. I don't know what happened, if the bright lights got him all nervous or something like that, but that was bad. To go to your question though, Jason, Browning's exactly who we thought he was. I mean, he's been on the practice squad for 2 years, unclaimed. I mean, if he was this, godsend of a backup quarterback, somebody would have claimed him off those waivers over the last 2 years. He's not it. He wasn't it in college. He's not it now. The only reason he got pumped up was because he was vaxxed, and he was the only guy we had, so we had to pump him up. I mean, even, Mond, after the little bit he played on Saturday, and I know he kind of got trashed a little bit too. I thought he played relatively well, just given the fact that, again, given a pretty blanket, playbook to work with, they're being really conservative in the play calling, and he had very limited practice all camp. Yeah, and he had very limited practices just because he had COVID, and that's something he really does need to figure out. He needs to get that vax if he wants to be the backup quarterback, since we know QB1 won't. So I think Mond kind of showed what we need in a backup quarterback, just the versatility he could bring, the hope that he could bring, even if he's not going to win us 9-10 games. If we get in that situation, he at least brings the fan base a little hope, gets people in the stands, makes a few ooh and ah plays. Browning's not that. He's, I don't know, warm milk. Is that an expression? I don't know. He's bad. Like, he's uninspiring. You don't want him out there unless it's just the worst case scenario or you're tanking, which, they don't really do that in the NFL. So I'm not a fan. I think, honestly, I don't even think he should be.
The Vikings don't tank. Other teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, they tank. The Vikings
sure.
It.
We don't do that.
I in all honesty, and I'm not like even that big of a fan or anything, or I'm not like diehard on this take or anything, but I've seen enough from Browning in my 2-3 years he's been on the team. I'd rather go grab like a Josh Rosen and just see what else he brings and let go of Browning. I know it's kind of tough to do because of the playbook, learning the playbook and all that, but I'm so uninspired by Browning that I don't even think he should be on this team. So. Dry toast. Yeah, I mean, whatever bland ass, comment or analogy you want to give, that is Jake Browning.
Okay. Miles, why are our special teams so bad? And why are they consistently so bad? Help me out, man. Like, why does this keep happening? Terrible. Why can't we get special teams figured out?
That's what the part I don't get. Like, out of all the things during this first preseason game that should have been firing on all cylinders, it was special teams, because all of the guys on that gas station. It's true. Like, out of all the things that should have been firing all cylinders, like, a majority of your special teams core players were playing on Saturday. So at least your expected players on special teams were playing on Saturday. The guys that sat out aren't expected to be heavy contributors in special teams in a major way, the way the guys were on Saturday. So to see how bad they performed, it's just disappointing. And you want to see better, like, from a coaching standpoint, from a punting standpoint, like, holy shit, Britton Colquitt. Like, dude, you could kick rocks tomorrow. Like, that dude is not ready to like, all he brings to this team now is being a holder, like, apparently. So, and then the punt coverage and those things, like, it just needs to be better. And I'm sure, like, they're going to coach that up this week, and you hope to see on Saturday a little bit better effort. But from a whole, what we saw last year, they're arguably the worst special teams unit, like, in totality last year. So, so you hope to see, and we were blaming who's the special team coach last year that they fired?
Maloff.
Maloof, whatever. Yeah.
Maloof, thank you. Yeah,
Marwan.
Marwan Maloof.
Yeah.
And so everybody was blaming him, but, like, until we see actual improvement, I'm not going to give Ficken the benefit of the doubt. Like, he's been here, so, like, let's see this improvement, because they really need to step it up.
What I will say though, it was good to see ISM actually take that kick return and make something of it. I mean, I think he only had the one shot at it.
A little high step.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, it's, you know, and
got a little
I don't
loose
know
with the ball though. You know, you got to tuck that thing away.
Absolutely. And I think he's got a lot to improve, but, like, you know, that was, you know, considering was Ngangwu, he got hurt off the first kickoff.
Nwangwu, bro.
Nwangwu.
Jesus Christ. Nwangwu. Bro, the way I've heard people try to pronounce this, like, it's just funny.
Sorry,
it's
we're
not
not as all perfect dictionary with the freaking names as you are, Miles. All right, I do my best. I read the things,
better,
and I still
Ryan.
can't pronounce it. I can barely read, man. Like, what are you talking about? But yeah, so, you know, he got hurt on that first play, so, you know, we didn't get a lot to, you know, see a lot out of him, which we were excited about because of that speed. And I even went to my son. I was at the game, and I go to my son. I'm like, watch him. He is blazing fast, and he got tackled like 15 yards out. Like, it was very disappointing. But seeing ISM take that back, knowing that we have D.D. Westbrook, who apparently today was as involved as he's ever been so far with practice in terms of fielding punts. He hasn't dropped one all camp yet, and hopefully not at all. Hopefully I don't have to say yet. And apparently he did some individual drills today too with the receivers. So you hear that flip? D.D. coming back. You know, so now we got to figure out the coverage units. So the coverage units, to your point, Miles, were atrocious. So we got to figure that out. I'm not sure what we need to do there. I mean, because we have the guys who have the speed, who have the, you know, fortitude to get down there, and they're just not doing it.
Zach Davidson, backup tight end, starting punter. Let's get it.
Hey, can we talk about tight end, Jason?
Okay, yeah.
Well, so
talk about it.
So I was saying the other day, I said it on Matt's pod, Matt's show last week on the Happy Hour show. The tight end depth is suspect to me. Conklin's hurt right now. It sounds like he'll be okay. It's minor now. They were worried, but he should be good to go week 1. What, like, Zach Davidson and Brandon Dillon are like the guys behind him, but none of them showed anything special on Saturday. Nothing. They didn't show anything that, like, from a blocking standpoint, from a, you know, a route running or catching ability standpoint. It didn't, you know, like the last few years what the Vikings have had at tight end, they've had really good depth. They had Rudolph, they had Irv, and they had Conklin as your third tight end. Well, you get rid of Rudy, you have Conklin and Irv. That's a really good duo, but you don't have the depth behind them. Like, and Davidson, I wouldn't expect anything from Davidson as a rookie to come in and to be anything. He needs to develop himself. That's not that's okay. Like, to expect a lot from a guy like Zach Davidson right now it's unfair to him. And so I'm just kind of surprised that they haven't, even going into camp, didn't consider looking to find a like cheap veteran third tight end, just someone that has a little bit of experience. But yeah, that's just another issue I feel like with depth wise that they could look to improve.
I think other really positions that have any of you worried? For any of you? The Miles is worried about tight end. Any other positions, like the depth, like after this game, is
wide receiver. I'm always worried about wide
making
receiver.
you nervous.
Them safeties, man.
D.D. Westbrook's going to solve all that. We know that already. So like
Deshaun,
tight end for
Deshaun's
Miles.
right,
Ryan, what about you? And then I guess we'll get
Deshaun
on these safeties.
You don't get to steal Deshaun's.
Yeah, I mean,
I said it, and he's right.
I won't steal Deshaun's. I mean, I'm never that worried about linebackers, but apparently that linebacker depth is pretty bad. They didn't play well at all on Saturday. So I was, that's I guess a level to be concerned, because especially now that like Barr is hurt apparently, and we don't know much about that injury outside of there's an injury. So with him being out, we don't have I think Nick Vigil's the kind of next man up, but we don't have that next like Eric Wilson type guy to kind of come and step in. So I think that there's some concern there. Obviously, I agree with Miles at tight end and receiver. And quarterback, because I don't believe in Kirk, and I don't believe in our Jake Browning, so as you know, I said before. So
yeah, gas station sushi. Deshaun, talking about the safeties, and is cornerback depth an issue? Because Dantzler, I mean, I'm not sure what happened out there. What was going on with him in this game?
That play wasn't on Dantzler. That was the safety the whole way.
I'm not just talking about the one play. I'm also talking about some run support. Like Dantzler just had a bad game all around. It wasn't just the one play that got highlighted. Like he just did not look. He did not look like he was like where he needed to be. He looked a step behind the whole game.
Yeah, and the tackling, I kind of give him a little bit of slack on, because it is his first time tackling. It's their first time tackling. So if it becomes a prolonged issue, it can become a concern. But last year, it wasn't bad to the point where you're just like, oh, this is continuing. So I mean,
it wasn't even a missed tackles though. He was missing contain. Like he dropped contain 2 or 3 times. It's like you can at least just be there, right, and force them back inside. Like you can't be missing contain when you're a second year player that's fighting for a starting job, in my opinion.
But I mean, but like I said, like last year, it wasn't stuff we were seeing. So this is like something that's probably easily fixable, and probably something that Zim was probably pretty hard on him about. But these safeties, I think it was 3 of them. It was Metellus, Dorn, and Bynum. They were all terrible. Like multiple plays, like just being horrible. Like I remember specifically on the touchdown that got called back for the Broncos. One of them actually did a pretty solid job of like shielding off the tackle, and Dorn comes in and he just completely whiffs, and the guy scores a touchdown. But I mean, thankfully Boyd was like held or something, and it got called back, and then Bynum with the long touchdown, and then it was just play after play after play for these guys. All 3 of them, just nobody showed anything at all.
Yep. Yeah, it was bad.
When does Dakota Dozier get cut, or do you think he makes it through to is Dakota Dozier on the team week 1? Miles.
Yep. 100%.
Ryan.
I would bet.
I don't think so.
Something. Yeah, I do.
Oh,
Miles, I'll bet you a beer next time we get together that he's not on the team.
I'm gonna go with no, just because Samia and Cole looked good. I'm gonna go with no. I think Samia becomes our new Dozier, which I don't know if that's better or not. hey, listen, he didn't give up on pressure. Samia he been out there working.
Well, apparently left guard's the spot for him. Not right.
Oh man, that
no,
I just got a little. I got nervous when you said that.
Right. No, real talk though. I think Dozier makes it. I think Dozier makes it because they just like the familiarity, and they know that he could play. I say this in in the most they know that he can play multiple positions. Like I'm not saying he can actually do it well, but they know that they can trust him to do his assignments and play multiple positions because he knows the offense. So unless to your point, Deshaun, unless Samia really does continue to step up, if they like Mason Cole's position flexibility, and then you obviously have if Wyatt Davis can have some position flexibility with Oli Udoh, that could be an opportunity where they're like, all right, Dozier, you're out, and then maybe they call Dozier later in the season if somebody gets hurt, because Dozier's gonna be on his couch anyways. And so I mean, that could be
Joseph, keep hitting us with comments like that, and we're giving you shout outs.
Hey, but real talk, actually, we might not even be talking about Dozier or Samia being on this team, because you got depending if they keep 9 or 10 offensive linemen, you already have Davis, Darisaw, and then Brandel apparently is knocking out of the park, and then so really that last spot, if they only keep 9, is between Cole, Samia, and Dozier. Cole's the only one with center experience, so you think they had. Who,
to cut him.
Cole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
So,
got like
you know,
2.5 million guaranteed or whatever, 2.3.
so if they decide to cut, or if they decide to keep 10, it's going to be between Dozier and Samia. Samia's cheaper. He's playing better, at least in one game that we've seen so far. But I mean, they're both not great, and we'd probably be better off picking up somebody off the waiver wire that gets cut from another team. But, you know, I think that, you know, it's going to be between those two for that final spot if they keep 10, and they might both be off if we only keep 9. So
we can dream. All right, let's look ahead. Oh, David is here. David is on the screen.
Dozier.
Breaking news.
Looking at PFF, only on that one game, small sample size, out of everybody that blocked in week 1 of the preseason and played 20% of 62 snaps, that's only 12 snaps, there's 383 players that got grades. Dakota Dozier finished 383rd. Dead
for him, man.
last. That deserves to be cut.
It's commitment,
last
Dave.
Saturday.
It's commitment.
he might be cut tomorrow when we sign Everson. We got to cut somebody.
True.
That safety he calls vicious. I've never seen that before. I've never seen someone cause a safety when a line of scrimmage was like 7 yards like ahead of them. Like I was like, what? I was like, he's out here doing new stuff I ain't never seen before. This man is crazy.
With Shamar Stephen lined up across him, no less. Like,
hey, Shamar Stephen revenge game. That man played angry. First time I ever seen that dude get pressure.
I mean, granted, he did get the lineup across him to go to Dozier. So, I mean, you know, chicken, egg. But let's look ahead. Miles, some starters are supposed to play. That's starting to trickle out. I guess, Miles, how much do you expect to see the starters play in this game, given that we have the condensed preseason?
Since there's only 3 games, I would guess maybe like 2 to 3 drives, maybe the quarter from starters. And I think, as we say starters, I'm sure some will play more than others. Like there are certain guys that don't need to see. Like Adam Thielen doesn't need to see a lot of snaps on Saturday. Give him a couple drives and bounce, you know, that type of thing. Even an Irv Smith, I wouldn't even risk an Irv Smith playing too much on Saturday. He's that important to the offense. You know, Danielle Hunter, if he can get a few snaps, you know, let him get his feet wet a little bit, and then see you later. But from like a totality standpoint, I bet like you'll see starters trickled in throughout like the first quarter. That'd be my guess.
All right. And Ryan, what are you looking for? Like, are you expecting with some starters playing that maybe things get opened up a little bit on offense? Like, given the showing that the offense had, and granted it was backups and Jake Browning and all that stuff, but given how just god awful it was, are you expecting that we're gonna open things up at all in this game, or do you think it's still gonna be 3-step slant, 3-step out, run, punt? Let's have our special teams get as much work as they can in this game. Like, what are you hoping to see?
Well, unfortunately, we just don't know what we're going to get out of this offense. That might be our offense. We don't know that. We haven't seen Clint ever call a game before, so maybe that is the game plan. And we were being as exotic as we could be last week.
Trash.
No, I'm really hoping to see that playbook open up just a little. Obviously, we're not going to show too much. We're not going to show our gadget plays. We're not going to show some of our fun stuff. But, you know, seeing a little, you know, especially for not so much even the first team, because we do know what they can do just given last year. And again, obviously it's a new playbook, but I'm guessing it's pretty much, you know, pretty similar. I'd like them to open it up a little bit more for Mond. I'm hoping, and I bet we'll see him as QB2. So we'll probably midway through the first, if not into the second, we'll see him come in for Kirk. And I'm hoping that they open it up more for him because I want to see what he can do to instill that confidence for myself and hopefully for the fan base that if Kirk does go out with COVID, that we have a competent guy that can at least hold, take the flag for at least a week or two until Kirk can get back. So I want to see that playbook open up just a little bit more. What?
I was just gonna say, Ryan, with that Mond situation, Mond shouldn't have the same exact playbook as a Kirk Cousins. So I would love for them to give him his own little bit of like a package, because if he were to come in and be your backup, it shouldn't just be the same offense, because he could do a little bit more within an offense that can be a little bit more creative than what Kirk can. So you would I'm just trying to piggyback on what you're saying. Like, I would love to see a little bit more of that like added nuance to a playbook for Kellen Mond specifically, not just tailored to Kirk.
They did sneak
Absolutely.
an
I
option
agree
in
with
there
you.
last game.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a good point.
Yep.
They did. Yeah, we've seen Kirk do that, but it's not pretty.
And
Deshaun,
QB power with Kirk last season was tough.
Deshaun, we got you in here to talk O-line. So, yeah, you got some starters
Well, yeah.
playing. Okay, how
I think-
much, in your view, should, not will, but how much should the Vikings first team O-line play in this game? And then how much do you think they actually will play in this game?
I say you come out the gates and you just do some confidence builder stuff. I say if you come out, you open up the playbook just a little bit, you get Kirk throw in, you get one confidence builder drive, and it comes out and everything goes your way, I think one drive is enough. But I think if you come out and you start seeing things leak, you start seeing guys doing what they're not supposed to do, I think you have to get them a little bit more reps. So the last couple of preseasons, we've actually had like where the offense comes out and the QB will go 4 for 4 for a touchdown. I think Kirk did it, like Teddy was doing it. So I think that's something that we'll get again. But if those guys start to mess up, I think we'll see them for probably half the first quarter. And then you'll see guys like Brandell and Dozier start to fill in.
Okay.
I think it would be
Dozier
good
getting them
though. I want to see
first reps off
this
the bench at
actually.
6-man.
This is actually like a matchup that I'm actually really excited to watch though this week. Is I'm hoping that the Colts do play some of their defensive line because like DeForest Buckner, he made Samia into a meme last year with the way he tried to block him. I want to see what Udo does in that situation. Like, can Udo hold the zone with that power that he has, right? I want to see this offensive line go against this defensive line if they're playing their starters and see how they hold up and see, are we better than last year? Or is it just much of the same with just new names? Because, according to Deshaun, if they're better, we're going to the playoffs and maybe a Super Bowl because that's all we are missing.
Are they better, Deshaun?
Listen,
Are we now a Super Bowl team?
I think I carry a little bit more confidence than everybody else just because when you do the research, Bradbury has 2 10-game stretches in his 2 seasons where he averages less than 1 pressure given up a game. Granted, that's only half his career games, but he's done it before and we've seen him be at least serviceable. Ezra Cleveland only had 2 bad games. Of course, in those 2 bad games, he gave up like 4 sacks and like 16 pressures. But in his other like 7 games, he was, to his defense, he was going up against Grady Jarrett and Ndamukong Suh. So I mean, like, it was almost expected. But in his other, like, I think he played 9 games last year. And his other 7, he was actually like an average to above average guard. So we have those guys, and then we have Brian O'Neill, who's been pretty consistent his whole career. So we have these guys in place where the confidence should be there. And then there's just Udo, and then there's the Hill Darisaw, where I feel like that's where this O-line is really going to either be bad or be really good. But I have the confidence in Udo because, I've been on the Udo train since 18. I liked his game at tackle against the Bears. I think it translates well to guard. I like Udo. I think he does fine, and I think you can afford to have Darisaw and Hill not have to be great. I feel like if you can get the interior guys working well consistently, you can give either Hill or Darisaw help on the outside when they're going up against those top-tier guys and be a good offensive line. And yes, we're a Super Bowl team. No, we're not a Super Bowl team. We're not a Super Bowl team. We're playoffs.
You know the worst part,
ESPN
though,
projects
is I feel
us
like,
at 24 for pass blocking. Just like they're looking at it. They say we're going to be the 24th ranked pass blocking offensive line this season. Obviously, predicting the future is very difficult, but like that's the range they're putting us in. Deshaun, do you feel like that is fair or harsh, or where would you see the Vikings pass blocking coming in versus kind of the projection that ESPN put out today?
Given recent history, and also just given, I feel like you have to be a fan and do the research to actually like have any kind of confidence in this guy. Because outside looking in, you're looking at this offensive line, you're going like, these guys suck. So 24th from an outside perspective is fair. Because now you're counting on a rookie tackle. You're counting on a guy that's never played guard before. You count on a guy that's now a converted tackle guard, and now he's flipping sides. And then the league just thinks Bradbury sucks. Like everybody in the league thinks Bradbury sucks. And then your only guy is Brian O'Neill.
He hasn't been good.
So from an outside perspective, 24th is fair. It's completely fair. I think they've been like worse than that the last like 3 years, like 28th, 29th. So I do agree that's fair from ESPN.
Okay. Where do you think we're going to land?
I think we land somewhere similar to 2017. I have us around 17 or 16. So last season, 16 was the Philadelphia Eagles, and when you kind of compare their positions to our positions, it's super attainable because I think Cleveland even maybe outperformed their guard, and I think Udo can actually their guard play wasn't great. I think their best spots were Jason Kelsey at center, and then he had two pretty good tackles. So we already have that other good tackle. I think if we can get those four guys and those three guys in the middle and then help whoever Hill or Darisaw, whoever ends up starting, we can attain 16th. And I think that does wonders for the offense.
But also, like other teams, offensive lines potentially got better as well, right? Like Eagles offensive lines, I don't know if they're healthy or not, but probably adding Brandon Brooks back, who was missing all last year. Other teams drafted guys and
Chargers
and signed free agents. Chargers were awful. I think their offensive line got better. The Chiefs offensive line, I don't know where they ranked season long, but they're significantly better than they were last year. So I mean, we although we might improve from what we're producing, other teams also potentially could be improving or getting worse. I guess you don't know. So that should be interesting. I think probably in the low 20s is probably right.
I think where the improvement's going to come the most is this team isn't going to throw as much as they did last year because they won't need to, and because the way this offense operates, they don't want to throw the ball because they want to run Dalvin Cook into the ground. Jason, I'm with you. You know how I feel about it too. But like that's the reality. So if they're in more, even game script, the game's attainable. They're not down by a lot early and having to come back if they're pretty even in the game's script. I think you'll see the offensive line improve because they won't have to be in straight drop back situations as often. So when they get into their play action, when they get into their boots, they get into all those situations. The offensive line is only going to benefit because that's what they want to be in. That's what their strengths are. So I think that's where you're going to see a lot of the true improvement. I don't know if it'll be from like an overall grade standpoint, but you'll see it on the field. You'll see the impact come if the offense and the defense is helping out by not giving up 30 plus points a game. Like you're going to see the way the overall improvement because they're not going to be trash like they were last year.
Yeah, we saw that last season also. Bradbury's play kind of fell off a cliff after week 8 when Kirk kind of shot up to third in attempts. The whole offensive line as a whole, I think Dakota Dozier had like 5 games in a row where he gave up 6 pressures or something crazy.
Yep.
So that could be something that we do see again, where if they have to, game after game go up in those passing attempts where things do kind of get worse, hopefully with this defense now that won't have to happen, because that's what you kind of saw. The defense wasn't holding up and they were having to pass all the time, and they're not at the point where they can be a drop back team. We'll see what happens this year. I don't see that magically changing after one season where they can just drop back every time, but I think they'll get to the point where they can drop back a little bit, and then maybe like when the defense is not pinning their ear back coming after us, they can be okay.
Okay. Well, there it is. We are hoping for average, so long as no one knows that we're going to pass. At which point, maybe ESPN was being too nice to us. Who knows? But that is it. That is all. We've made it through all the things we wanted to talk about. Shout out to all of the folks in the chat hitting us up. Flip, Tanishka can come on whenever. Why don't you hit her up in the group chat and see when she's free, and we can get her on anytime. And what was the other thing that we wanted to? Nope, that was it. That was all the stuff that was going on in there that we wanted to hit up. And Seth wants to know where. So Nick has to work. Eric's on another show, and Flip is working too much. Flip has got a post-game show, Thursday show. Flip's taking the day off, talk a little smack. And Jim, that is it. We might have to switch up our hashtag for CTP.
Hoping
Let's
for
just hope
average.
for
I
average.
love that.
Let's just hope for average.
Hey,
Let's-
that's a daily motto.
Man,
That's a daily motto you got to live by.
Hey, yo, did Seth just call us like the preseason game one, like just a bunch of backups and scrubs, or what?
I mean, damn, Seth. They're
Yeah.
Ryan and Deshaun have feelings too, bro. Joseph,
Yo, hey,
good job to you too.
Bro,
Great
I can't believe
comments
you said
today. Keep
about
it
my
up.
kid too, Seth. God damn.
yeah. Well, two shout outs real quick. Two shout outs real quick. Your daughter's been amazing. You've been on this whole show, and I barely heard a peep. Congrats on that. And tomorrow, so I'll be on the show tomorrow night. Vikings happy hour. We got me and Matt coming back, and we actually have one of the opponents talking heads. So we got Chris Blystone from SB Nation. I think they're called Stampede Blue for the Colts. He's going to be joining us, so we can do kind of like a cross-team preview of the preseason game that we have coming up. So maybe we'll get a little bit more insights on their teams, their concerns, what they're excited about, and we'll talk a little bit about ours all over just a cup of cocktails. So make sure to join in, everyone. I know a lot of you guys join multiple shows, so appreciate the love, appreciate the CTP love, and let's keep going.
There it is. David.
I'm here.
Thanks, Seth.
You got anything for us today, or
No,
music?
Ryan got the plug for tomorrow night as we have a guest from the opposite side to join us, which should be fun, especially when we're drinking. So until then, after that, of course, we got Viking hot takes on Thursday, and then we roll into the weekend schedule with the post-game show, which is being relabeled after one show. It's going to be now the final score. And you'll see us live by the time of the last final whistle. Will be the first show on.
I might be drunk, so bear with
Nothing wrong with that. You know if they're playing that, I will be. Until then, skol, everybody.
me. Play the music.
Oops.
That's not the music.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. And if you're listening on your favorite aggregator, make sure you rate us. And always feel free to join the conversation here at Climbing the Pocket. Skol, everybody.